There's more individuals in the United States right now that are millionaires than people with a six-pack. What does that feel like to bank $20 million, $60 million? I just want to see what it feels like. If you're not growing, you die. I never, ever thought about working for myself. A healthy body is the best outfit you can ever wear. When you don't know what to do, you do a bunch of different things, and 99% of the things you do don't matter. It feels a little bit like you are in a cage.
Simon, where's your drive coming from?
Yeah, so I've always been extremely competitive since I was a kid, you know what I mean? Playing football since I was 12 years old. I would literally cry every single time if we didn't win. I would yell, at my teammates if we didn't perform. So I've always just wanted to be good at what I was doing. I always wanted to win. You know what I mean? There's something about winning. I don't know what it is in there, but I think that is really that, what can you say, almost like aggressive source of energy I have to like drive me through this work and everyday life. There's some sort of like fuel that comes from that. I just always wanted to, play at a high level in football, always wanted to, what can you say, go all out, and, even moving into my later teenage years when I, got into drugs, like I would, I wouldn't run away from anything. I would do drugs simply just because I was bored. I didn't play football anymore. And I now found a new passion, you know what I mean? And then the same thing in the drugs. I wanted to see what that ultimate thing would be like. What's the highest high? How many drugs could I take? How stupid could I become? It almost like just became about how can I become the most stupid person there? You know what I mean? And I think there's this innate curiosity for me to see what does it look like at the highest level? Like, what does it feel like to be playing in the top league in football? What does it feel like to become, I was selling drugs. What does it feel like to be a gangster? You know what I mean? That was almost like what I had in my mind at that time. And that kind of like, it spills into everything that I do and how I think on a day-to-day basis. But today has obviously shifted. Like, going back to the winning mentality is what gets me up in the morning. It's using that pain from my drug time, to not want it to go back, to not want to feel the way that I felt again. But then now it's shifted into purpose. It's shifted into like truly being happy about what I do on a day-to-day basis. Truly be happy to see what could this be like. Okay, what could this business be like? What could this life now be like? Because now I'm hooked into a positive, what can you say, driver that pushes me forward, versus drugs, versus not having any purpose, not having anything to wake up to every single day. So what drives me today is my innate curiosity to see what would it look like to play at the highest level. And it's not even from a status standpoint. It's not about money. It's not about travel. It's not about how people perceive me at all. Maybe there's elements of all of it in there, but it's just like, what would it feel like to do X? Like, I just want to see what it feels like. We were doing some podcasts, and I will talk more about that, but they're all super successful in what they do. You know what I mean? What does that feel like? What does that feel like to bank $20 million, $60 million? I just want to see what it feels like. Okay? And then you move on. It's like any other skill, any other experience. If you've never been to Vegas, as we are right now, wouldn't you want to try to experience and see what Vegas is like? That's just how I look at my life. So that's how I'm operating my business. That's how I'm operating my life. I just want to see what would it feel like? What would it look like? And what would the experience be at that next level? So that's really kind of like what drives me on a day-to-day basis to get up in the morning. It's a mixture of pain, it's a mixture of curiosity, and it's a mixture of being on purpose and seeing what this could be like.
So why fitness? Why did you end up in this business?
Yeah, fitness has always been, or sport, if you can say so, has always been, something that I've been naturally good at. You know what I mean? I was playing football as a kid. I was just a sporty guy. It was, you see some people, they just don't know what to do with a ball or a racket or anything. I'm pretty good at all sports. I can play table tennis, I can play tennis, I can play squash, I can play volleyball, I can play football, I played handball, boxing, kickboxing. Like I've done a lot of different sports things. So it's always been an innate thing in me to be an athlete. I see myself as an athlete, very athletic minded, okay? But why the fitness business? See, first of all, I never, ever thought about working for myself. I saw my dad grind his face off, okay, working super hard. It didn't look like from the outside for me that it just looked like work, you know what I mean? It just looked like stress. He was not there. He worked 2 jobs, you know what I mean? So I had this association with running your own business it's not worth it, you know? 1, 2, when I think I was 15 or 16 years old. I worked for another guy. It was like what's it called? Like a graphic designer sort of thing. Like he's putting advertising on cars and buses and stuff. Awesome job. I actually loved it. But I also saw him, you know what I mean? It was a small business, 4 employees, and he worked 14 hours every single day. And it also looked like just hard work and no really reward. So it wasn't really before moving to Australia. So, you know, fast forward, I was doing the football. Then I started fitness when I was 15. Then I started competing as an athlete and competed at the nationals. You know, I placed 3rd the first year, 2nd the second year, and second again the 3rd year. So I was, again, going all out. Like I was trying to play at the highest level. I was trying to win. I was trying to, like, what would this fitness thing be at the max? You know what I mean? You see your body go from 105 kilo to super shredded 85 kilos. You know, you're lifting 200 plus kilo in squat. Like, just again, like, what does that look like? What does that feel like? I always wanted to push the envelope for that. But yeah, when I was 16, around that same time when I started training, I remember we went for it's called like an exchange, you know what I mean, where you go out to different industries, like different schools. In Denmark, we have business school, we have gymnasium, which is more academically, like more lawyers, doctors and stuff. And then you have the technical gymnasium, which is, you know, technicians, electricians, engineering and stuff. And then you have business school, which is more sales and marketing. And, you know, I went to the business school and I did 2 weeks there. And I remember, like, clearly as it was yesterday, we had the first class, we had the first teacher on, and I knew within, like, I'm not kidding, the first 10 minutes, this is what I'm gonna do, okay? The energy, okay, just the people, I felt aligned with it, with the values, the communication. I was inspired by them. I was inspired by his energy, his way of communicating things, and then the subjects that revolved around that. And I think the reason why I gravitated towards sales and marketing is because I felt more aligned with these people in regards to, they seemed like high energy people, they seemed like extroverts, they seemed like they just had more fun. They seemed like they were, you know, charming, they seemed like they could influence or persuade, even though I didn't have a clue about all these words, what it meant. But I'm like, I gravitated towards, I want to be like him. I want to be more of that energy because I knew I had that inside me. So I knew from a very early age, I wanted to do something in business, something in sales, not business as running your own business, but within the business field, within the sales and marketing space. So then I moved to Australia when I was 22, and still didn't think about wanting to do my own business at all. Arrived down there, and as soon as I got sort of like on my feet, I had the first couple of jobs down there, then boom, it just hit me and be like, I do train every single day. I'm pretty good at it. I've already done it like almost like at a professional level. I've helped people back home in Denmark. I've trained since I was 15. I'm pretty qualified to help people train with the nutrition and stuff. And it was a symbiotic journey for me to remove myself from my home country, thinking clear, going through a lot of painful experiences for the drugs and moving out, to then coming to Australia and then really gravitating towards personal development. I needed to work on my mindset. I had anxiety, I had low self-esteem, I had, you know, a lot of different things through that period of moving to Australia. And then at the same time, I was like training. okay, I can actually help people in this way. So it became this beautiful symbiotic journey around I can help people, I can actually do something over here, while at the same time I'm developing and involving myself. Okay, so when I started as a personal trainer down there, I wrote down on my goals every single day, hey, you need to connect with 5 new people in the gym. Okay, that is a a business task or thing I needed to do to generate more clients as a personal trainer, but it was also a personal development exercise for me, putting myself out there, connecting with strangers, saying hello. Like I would do this thousands of times. I went to marketing classes down there every single Friday. I had to take the train in, and literally, I'm not kidding. I would take the train in, go to class, and then I would walk back over to the train station every single Friday. And you walk on the promenade, okay, where there's hundreds of people. And again, every morning I would write down, connect with 5 new people today. So then I would literally walk back to the train and then stop strangers on the street and be like, hey, like I'm doing this research from school. I would just make up stuff to then basically interview them, connect with them, talk with them, and that sort of thing. And all I got out of that was just getting out of my comfort zone. So I know this is rattling on, but it became a symbiotic journey around developing myself, pushing myself out of my comfort zone, and then having this natural ability to sport activities and athleticism. That became the building block for actually getting into the fitness business. I never thought about I would work in there, but that became the the start for that.
So what's your take on work and work ethic?
Yes, I think my definition of work is the motion or the act of moving towards something, move towards a desired outcome. So work is not just doing stuff, okay? Work is not cleaning up. It could be, okay, if it helps you produce more. But I think a lot of us, we mix around with the work. Like just because you're on all day, 12 hours or 10 hours, that doesn't mean you work. I see work as the motion towards a desired outcome. And if you then boil it down to what is the, the skills and the behaviors, like what are the things that needs to go into that is the act of moving towards a desired outcome. And the 2 things that goes in there is either leverage, how fast can I go? How much can I leverage other people to help me to go there? How much can we compress 10 hours of work across 5 people? So we're actually getting 50 hours of work done in 10 hours. And then 2 is really just skills. Like what are the skills that I need to develop to do it faster, to do it better? So I purely just see work and work ethic as the act and the motion. And again, the motion is the speed of which you're going towards a desired outcome. So the better you are at working, the better you are at your skills, and the better you are at leveraging your time, the faster you're going to move towards the desired outcome there. The next thing is really just what is the outcome that I'm working towards? Because we can also work for a long time, and I've done that many times, and we're not really working towards something meaningful. Like, does it actually matter? So I think the first thing to really figure out is, what is my purpose? What drives me? Okay, why do I want to wake up in the morning? What am I doing this for? Okay, and that changes over time. You know what I mean? But if you can find the things, 1, 2 things that really drives you. You hear a lot of people say when they have kids, the kids and the family is their biggest purpose, and I believe in that in many ways. So then that becomes the kids and the family, and then let's say you're in business, it becomes the financial success, the business, and the mission of the business. These becomes your 2 big purposes that you wake up to every day, that I'm gonna wake up early, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna clean myself up, I'm gonna go and produce, so we can fulfill our business mission. And then at the same time, I can feel good about myself. I can provide for my family. I can be a good example for my kids. Like that, in a nutshell, is 2, I would say, big purposes that then gives you the direction to then push towards and then move towards there. The other thing is really around the commitment aspect, meaning it's a long-term game. You know what I mean? You're not just starting today and then expect something is going to happen tomorrow. There is work involved. There is sacrifices involved. There is a lot of, headaches, involved with getting to a desired outcome. Like any story, if you're looking at any movie, there's no movie, okay, without a storyline of the beginning, the middle, and the end. Meaning there is a desired outcome the character wanted in the beginning, and there are some struggles and headaches that the person had to go through to get to the promised land. Okay, no story, like every single movie that you ever watched, follow a similar structure. So that is really how you need to look at your life as well. It's like there will be these headaches, there will be these painful moments, but commitment, when we're tying it back to work ethic, purely just means that you will never quit no matter what. Now, there's a difference between stopping, quitting, and pivoting. You know what I mean? Like, is it time for you to move to the right? Because that's going to be better for the ultimate outcome. Is the outcome, the passion, the purpose, is that now moved? So you need to symbiotically move to the right to hit that. That's not quitting. You're being smart. You know what I mean? But it's really just having that mindset of quitting is just not even in your vocabulary. It's non-existent. It needs to be that like firm driver within you that like you will do like anything to make this happen. Okay. And then I think the last thing that goes into it, so you have the purpose. What are you actually moving towards? You have the commitment to the purpose, and then you have the discipline aspect. And the discipline aspect really just comes down to you know what you need to do, and you do it no matter what. Okay. A lot of people, I've heard that over years. Look at a person like me and say, like, you're just so disciplined. Like, do you enjoy yourself? Like, are you happy? Like, why are you so disciplined? Why do you work so much? And I truly just, again, it goes back up to your purpose. It's like discipline just comes down to you having a strong ethic towards yourself, to your goals, and to your mission, that you are clear-headed in most situations, and either if you should turn left or if you turn right now. Meaning, is this going to move me closer towards my purpose, my mission, my goals? Is this going to serve me? Now, do I analyze every single moment through that? I analyze a lot of moments through that, okay? Even being in Vegas here right now, there's parties, there's, day parties we can go to, there's masterminds, events, and then there's the event in itself. I actually analyze all these activities through that lens to be like, okay, I'm here right now. What is my purpose of being here? I want to be here right now. I want to connect with as many business owners as possible. I want to shoot as much content as possible, okay? And then I want to get out of my comfort zone and just be and then meet new people. You know what I mean? So then I'm racing through that. Should I go to a party after 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock? For the sake of what? Like meeting new people? Or could I meet new people during the day, during the afternoon, and then during, the beginning of the evening? Like what's the outcome? You know what I mean? So I always look at them like, no, I don't need to go there right now because I've already connected and met enough people through this time I've been here right now. Do I get more return on my time on the next 2 hours staying out late? So in the end of the day, it's really just coming down to like you're raising your decision around, is this going to move me closer to my goal, or is it going to move me further away from my goal?
What is freedom to you?
I think freedom to me, if you sum it up, is really just doing what you want to do, when you want to do it, with who you want to do it, for as long time as you want to do it. Okay. Now I know that sounds very, poetic or motivational, you know what I mean? But I think that's what a lot of people really, really want, you know what I mean? So do I have freedom right now? In many ways, yes, I do have a lot of freedom right now, and also no. And the no part I will touch on, but I've been able to create a life where I'm like truly on purpose, you know what I mean? Like, as we talked about, everything personally that I do every single day is, moving me as a human being forward. And I'm just lucky that I can do that for work. I can do that for my hobbies, and I can do that from where I live and from the people I have around me. Everything that I do, I always see it as like, I'm so lucky that I can get to buy a book, claim it on tax, because it's business purposes, but it's also personally fulfillment at the same time. That's how I'm looking at my life. Every single thing that I do, this trip going to Vegas, for many people would be, let's go to Vegas. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what, like, did you go out? I'm like, every single thing that I do, it's aligned with where I'm trying to go. Okay. And that's the beautiful thing about that. So that gives me, I think, ultimate freedom, but again, I work online. I have location independence. You know what I mean? I can work from anywhere in the world. I can go anywhere where I want to. I created a financial resources to be able to also do that. You know what I mean? Which gives you freedom mentally. And then I think the biggest thing that I'm really blessed and grateful for, I live in Bali. I live on an island. I live in a tropical area. I have sunlight every single day. I have good people around me. A lot of entrepreneurs. Like, I've created a lifestyle that I'm really, really happy with. But yeah, I think that is really the essence. It's like I'm so happy, literally to the bottom of my heart, and excited every single morning that I'm waking up. And it's not something I'm like, trying to like, am I doing that? Like, I literally write it down in my little book every single morning. I walk over to the gym, I jump in the cold plunge, I do my sauna, and I sit down there and I look up in the sky, you know what I mean? I drink my coffee and I write my notes down, and I'm like truly feeling grateful. I won't say lucky, I truly feel blessed and grateful, and I write it down. Like, I'm so blessed and grateful that I have the ability, Simon, you had the ability to put yourself into this, to create this for yourself, okay? Because again, it comes with a lot of sacrifice, and that's probably the other aspect to why I don't have the freedom, okay? So the things, the life, the purpose, all that is great. But the reason why maybe some people have more freedom than me, I know a lot of guys that are living their life more, exploring more, you know what I mean, which is great. I have deep respect for all these guys. But I think if you're a very ambitious person, it naturally comes with the mindset of it's never enough. It's never enough. Like, more, do more, work more, stay longer, okay? So you're naturally having a little bit of a bias of never being there, which I've been putting a lot of thoughts into, actually. And I think there's phases to it, you know what I mean? So I'm working extremely hard right now, 12 hours every single day. And for some people, and to be honest, myself sometimes, yeah, it feels a little bit like you are in a cage, you know what I mean? Sometimes, because there is a lot of responsibilities. You have responsibility for other people right now, their paychecks, what they do with their life, how they're performing, how they're sleeping, how they're doing their everyday life, financial responsibilities around everything with the business, what that goes out every single day. It just feels like you're holding on, like a scaffolding or a foundation for a house, you know what I mean? And like, oh, don't break up, oh, don't fall to the left, you know what I mean? So it naturally creates a feeling of, I won't say, I don't like the word worry, but like alertness and never relaxing, kind of, never comfortable, kind of. And sometimes, to be honest, like, I just wish that I could be happy with, whatever, making X amount of money, not have any responsibilities from outside, and just go and do a lot of the things that I can do anyway. You go and travel, you go and meet people, and you can go and do that. Sometimes I wish I could just do that and be okay with that, but I just can't. Okay, that's just not how I'm wired, and that's again from what we talked about before. I just want to see what this ship would look like at the highest level, and I'm willing to eat shit. I'm willing to go through like a lot of stress, tightness, long hours, and disappointment to get there. Because what I took from the takeaways from the 2 podcasts I did over here is both individuals, one of the guys have done 100+ million in the last 6 years, and the other guys have built a real estate portfolio up to around 70 or 80 million in portfolio, okay? Both of the guys very different, you know what I mean? But both of them said that it's not about the accomplishment in itself. They could go away, they could live happily for the rest of their life, have multiple locations and houses and everything around the world, and never have to worry one more time. Both of them said, it's not about that. It's about the work. It's about the getting up in the morning, being on purpose, pushing hard, being challenged, learn, okay? Like what happens to a dog or a child or us if we don't continue to learn and evolve? Like what happens? If you're not growing, okay, you're dying. And I think that is really just the essence of, why I'm pushing so hard and really why I think freedom comes in a natural, what can you say, supply when you're pushing through it. Okay, so that's why it's like, yes, I have freedom because I'm doing all the great things every single day. I'm on purpose. I do my routines. And two, at the same time, I'm learning and I'm pushing the envelope. So I'm keeping things very like charged all the way up, you know what I mean? So again, we all get older. I'm 32 years old right now. Maybe I'll think differently at 35 or 40. I probably will, family and stuff. So you have different priorities at that time. But that's my take on freedom.
Six-pack abs, is that something to strive for?
100%. There's more individuals in the United States right now that are millionaires. Okay, get these stats. More individuals in the US are millionaires than people with a six-pack. Okay, so what does that say a little bit about our, what can you say, existence and mindsets and how we are basically evolving as human beings? That basically means, either we don't have our priorities and right, like health is less, of a priority than money. And I understand that we're living on a financial and economic planet, and money is a very strong driver for a lot of people. But it also shows me that, people are neglecting the small things. Yeah, it's just a six-pack. You know what I mean? They're neglecting that like one little thing. And again, here, it's not about the six-pack. It's not about how cut it is. Should you be 6%, 7%, 8%, 12%? It doesn't really matter. What I'm saying is a six-pack worth it? 100% it is. Yes, it's like buying your Ferrari or buying your watch you want. Having a six-pack is probably the most, what can you say, attractive, like a healthy body. I will use it in that way. Right? A healthy body is the best outfit you can ever wear, period. Okay, period. So from an aesthetic standpoint, from a status standpoint, okay, like who do you rather want to be with? Like if I'm speaking to a woman right now, you have a charismatic, really nice guy, a lot of money, you can do whatever you want to do, but he's fat and he's out of shape and he's lost his hair and he's got a hairy back. Or you have a nice guy, very charismatic, he's got the money, he's got the freedom, and you can do whatever you want to do, and he's in shape, he's great, he's got a good no hair in the back and a good hairline. Like, which one would you choose? Okay, period. Like, I know who I wouldn't choose if I had the option of a woman, without the hair on the back, but you get my point. So there's that aspect to it. It's 100% like you're being judged by the way you look, okay? And again, it's not about the six-pack. You can be fit, you can be, bigger, you can be smaller. I'm just saying, get yourself in shape, okay? For that point. But the second thing that, and the more important thing about the six-pack and being in shape is the edge it will give you. Like, how do you feel about yourself waking up in the morning? How do you feel about the food you're putting into your body? The exercise you're doing every single day? The sleep you're now prioritizing because you want to feel good and energized waking up in the morning? All this pursuit of getting your body in shape, let's just call it getting a six-pack, all the pursuit of that will then spread out to like 7,000 different other things that is going to impact you in a positive way in your life. Okay, you show up, you shake hands, you have a different energy in your eyes. Okay, your skin is nice, you look well presented. People are gonna see and people are gonna smell that. Okay, but again, you're gonna feel that. Like, I'm athletic. I've been staying in pretty good shape throughout the last 15, 20 years almost. But I know when I'm like just cruising, and then I know when I'm in good shape. Okay, when I'm like just 1, 2, or 3% better. I feel not 1 or 2 or 3% better. I feel 100 times better in that phase where I'm pursuing something. I'm getting more and more lean. I'm in better and better shape. Everything goes up. The business, like being on calls, being on meetings, like you're a lot more fast, a lot more sharp. You have a very intensified, potent, I would say, energy about how you're going about life. You have confidence. You don't have confidence because you look better. Yeah, you have, but you have confidence because you're feeling like, wow, I'm rolling. I'm moving somewhere right now. So it just never lets you down to be in good shape. So yeah, get yourself a six pack.
What's the main lessons you wish you knew before starting your own business?
Yeah, so it's been eight plus years right now of being in business. So I've learned a lot of lessons, but what's the main lessons I've learned? I think the first thing is like, you have to find something that fulfills you, that excites you waking up in the morning, at something that is scalable, and let me break that down. So I've many times throughout the career I've been in right now thought like, oh, I'm doing this wrong. I should just have gone into something else, maybe crypto, maybe real estate, maybe something else, you know what I mean? Because you see these guys just pop up everywhere, you know what I mean? And you're like, I'm in this business, you know what I mean? Like I'm also trying to make money, you know what I mean? Why is these kids over there, no experience, fucking blowing up and then making a ton of money? So I've had that in my mind, but then it's also just hit me, over the last few years that, what is going to excite you to wake up in the morning, to actually do as a thing? Like, would you enjoy driving into the office? Like, let's say you're in New York. Would you enjoy taking the metro or whatever into the office, going to Wall Street, be a stockbroker and make a ton of money, okay, and work inside 13 hours, 14 hours every single day? I'm just using an analogy right now. You go out for dinner and lunches, you snort a bunch of cocaine, and you go in and you hook up with some strippers. I'm just using that as an example. Maybe, again, maybe you would enjoy doing something else. So I think it's just boiling it down to like, what would you actually enjoy do on a day-to-day basis? Does that fulfill you in regards to what you have to do? And then the other aspect to the scaling part, like the business part, is nothing in the beginning is scalable, and that's okay because you need to learn the skills to become better at that. And then you just need to fine-tune your approach along the way. So me being a personal trainer, not really scalable. Looking back, would I change anything? Probably not. Why? Because it stacks skills. Like I learned how to communicate with people. I learned to see people in front of me. I learned really the training mechanics and stuff. Like I learned a lot of things from them. But could I have gone straight to doing something else? Maybe. I don't know. But I truly believe there's a path for everyone. And just because it's not scalable in the beginning, it can become scalable, because one thing I've learned is that business at the highest level is all the same. You know what I mean? It's marketing, it's sales, it's fulfillment, it's IT, it's HR. It's all the same at the same point, So can you become a billionaire in the health space? For sure. Can you become a billionaire in the real estate space? For sure. Can you become a billionaire in crypto? For sure. There is the jobs that have a constraint, or a skill that have a constraint, or an industry that have a constraint. Sure, but all you just got to look at is, will this industry be here 100 years from now? And I do know in the industry I'm in that will be there for the rest of our life on this earth. People want to be in shape, people want to be healthier, people want to feel better about themselves, and it's a growing industry. People are getting more and more out of shape. Okay, so I know that there is $1 billion play in a game that we're playing in, knowing what I'm knowing now. Then I think the other aspect is starting with the end in mind. In the beginning, I would just do a bunch of stuff, and again, because you don't know what you need to do, so therefore you can't know what to do. But now, knowing what I know now, what would I tell myself? Even as a personal trainer or starting online, I would tell myself that you have to figure out what problem are you trying to solve, and for which person. Okay, like it took me many years now to land at where we are right now. And again, as I said, it goes in contradict with what I just said before. You have to go through these things. But if I would coach myself, I would say get faster to this point, meaning what problem are you trying to solve? For whom are you trying to solve this problem for? And then you simply just need to craft and perfect what you do and become the best at delivering that product or that service to that specific person. Okay, I work with a lot of different individuals over the years. Today we work with business owners and entrepreneurs, and I've never been happier and more excited with what we do and how we do it and who we help, because it now starts to align again back to who I am. For so many years, I would help any person that needed to get in shape, but I'm like, to be frank, I don't want to be with these people. I don't want to listen to what they're saying. I don't have patience for these guys. I don't feel aligned with these guys. Okay. So I had to change, and I had to evolve, and it took me a long time. So I would say definitely start with the end in mind and then reverse engineer into that. Then the third thing is really around focusing on the essentials. So again, when you don't know what to do, you do a bunch of different things, and 99% of the things you do don't matter. So knowing what I'm knowing now to what I will say to myself in the beginning is I would boil it down to, okay, you have your marketing, how you're attracting people into you. You have the conversion, the sales, okay, and then you have the product or the fulfillment that you're doing. I would coach myself on literally just have a piece of paper on my wall, you know what I mean? And then have what are the things, the activities that goes into each category, and then eliminate everything else from my plate that doesn't support that. And then it's a continuum. It moves back and forward, meaning there will always be a bottleneck. Okay, so in the beginning, for a lot of people, it's how do I attract people? How do I let people know about my stuff? How do I get people interested in what I do? That's where you see still today, a lot of people are struggling with that. Then the next thing is how do I then craft an offer, you know what I mean, to give to that person when they then are interested. What are we going to do for them? How are we going to help them? Again, that goes back to start with the end in mind. Who do you speak to, and what is the problem you solve? So the better you are at crafting that offer that solves that problem for that specific person, the easier you're going to have it, with also converting that into a paying client. Okay, and then the third step is really the fulfillment aspect. Are we getting good results? Are we getting good testimonials? Are we getting good reviews? Is everybody happy with the promises being delivered on? Do people actually get value out of what you do? So it always goes through these three things. So it's looking at what you do through that lens always, and then eliminate everything else there is. And it's it goes back again to you don't know what you need to do because you don't know. So everything just seems like everything is blurred together. But I promise you, boil it down to these three things. Write a piece of paper and then write what are the tasks that goes into that for your specific business or for your specific thing that you need to become better at. And then you just need to prioritize what is the bottleneck right now. And that can be 1 week, it can be 1 month, it can be 1 year. This is my bottleneck right now, and I'm going to focus 90% of my attention here, and then let the rest of it over here right now run as it is already. So I think that's the biggest thing there. And then I would say the other thing to it is really just speed is everything. Okay, you're not going to know what's going to work. You will never know, and it's really just about how quickly can you get to action, to motion with your idea. How quickly can you be, I want to shoot this video, to actually shooting the video and then distributing that video? How quickly can you get to, I have an idea about an ad, I write it down on my phone in the gym, to going back home, to shooting that ad, and then boom, blast it out, put some money behind it and see what converts. Now I'm just using content here as an example, but it can be anything. It can be that one thing we need to change for the team, that one person needs to leave the team. It's everything. It takes a lot more work, it takes a lot more trial and errors, it takes a lot more testing than you think. But just double down, just continue to be in motion, have your little system of how you are, collecting ideas and what's a priority and what's most important. It goes back to what I said, sales, marketing and fulfillment. I have that on my Google Keep. I have these free posters always, and I put in tasks that I need to add in there that is waiting to, or task that is to do today. And most of the ideas that I get in the moment, it's something that needs to be executed on that same day, most of the time. Okay, with small tweaks, small changes, things that needs to be shot as content and that sort of thing. It's like right away. Let's see how that works. So speed is really, really, really everything there. And then I think the very last thing is you're only as good as your team. Okay, for so many years I was pulling my hair, thinking that the system didn't work, the script didn't work, the video didn't work. Okay, the content doesn't work. For so many years, I thought it was the thing that didn't work. And I realized very, very quickly that it was the person that was doing the thing that didn't work. Okay? So it was simply just shifting the mindset of training and developing the people needing to execute on the thing that you wanted them to do that matters the most. So the last 2 years, I've really just been like anal around just writing everything down, SOP everything, because I truly believe that entrepreneurship is about learning and developing a skill, and then as quickly as possible, give that skill, train that skill to another person so you don't have to do that again. Okay, become good at sales, teach another person to become good at sales so you don't have to do the sales anymore. Attract people in, shoot the ad, shoot the content, like convert the customer into an appointment. These are all trainable skills that your team needs to do. And they need to do them in the way that you obviously have built out because it worked for you in the beginning. So I would say like just SOP everything out, like creating a system, creating a rule book, creating a game plan. So any new person that comes into your organization can follow that with confidence. And if they can't, it's either them or it's the system that you created, the training to develop the system. Because if you could do it and another person could do it, but this third person couldn't do it, then it's likely the person. But if it's first time you're teaching this to another person and the person doesn't get it, it's most likely me, that doesn't train this person properly to do this, okay? Or it's simply the person that just is not the right fit for it. So the team is everything. You're only as good as your team. Your team is a reflection of you, okay? What you allow, what your standard is for the organization. And that's really it. Like, get some good people around you. And it's tough in the beginning. You know what I mean? You're going to pay people. You're going to create opportunities for people. And in the beginning, there is just limited resources. There's a limited opportunities because you're growing and evolving at the same time. So it's really just finding people that are aligned with you, with your energy, your mission, okay, your purpose. They want to grow, they want to learn, they want to evolve, they want to develop, and they have a sort of like a belief and a faith in like, hey, where could we take this? Again, like I have as the entrepreneur. It's like, I want to go all out. I want to see what this could be like. You want to paint that picture for your team so they can fit naturally into that and see the path to get there. I had this conversation with a fellow coach in the space actually over here in Vegas right now. And we're talking about his team, his VAs, they're creating appointments, they're booking appointments, where he was like, yeah, I had to let go of them, to improve my profit. You know what I mean? And I was like, how much are you paying those an hour? And he was like, $8 an hour. And I was like, so what do you do then? He's like, yeah, I'm doing it now. I'm doing the work now. I'm going back into the DM to generate appointments and stuff because it wasn't working. And I said to him like blunt, I'm like, dude, how much is your time worth? And he was like a lot more. I'm like, yeah, you're basically paying yourself $8 an hour right now to do that thing. The thing you need to do instead is, again, going back to the training thing. Is this person the right thing? Or is your training of training this person wrong? Okay? Because you're dumb right now. You're going down to $8 an hour because you want to save money on paying them $8 an hour because it's not working what they're doing. I get it that you want to go in and fix it. You know what I mean? You got to see what you need to do, but don't let go of them. Okay? These are your assets. Maybe you have to let go of them. Maybe they're not the right one. But again, it goes back to that looking through the lens. They're not right, or your training is not right. And I think in this instance, the training is just not right. Okay? And that's what we had the dialogue around. So yeah, man, like learn a skill, move on, and then SOP the shit out of it, and then get your team on the same page. That's the key for it.
The key to optimal daily performance. What do you do?
Dear Shane, the guy that was on a podcast yesterday, he was like, what would you do? How would you coach me to get in shape right now? So, what we teach and what we preach it's very simple. It falls into, 5 key habits and routines. And, the first one is my sleep. I am probably, that's the number one also in priority. the one thing that I'm most fixated on today. It's my sleep. Okay, because I know when I have good sleep, when I'm well rested, and when I have good energy, the rest of the day and what happens, my mood, my decisions, and everything is just 10 times better. So what I try to do to get a good night's sleep is, 3 hours before I will stop eating. I will have dinner. You know what I mean? Like, let's say 7 o'clock, then I go to bed at 10. I will have dinner. So stop eating 3 hours before bed. 2 hours before, like no work, no stimulation or anything before that. And then the last hour before, I would basically turn off all electronic, you know what I mean? So I would go up to bed, have a diffuser on, dimmed light. I used to write journal or read or something. And I will simply just quiet down. Sometimes I do breath work. Sometimes I do meditation in bed. But I'm just trying to 3 hours before, 2 hours before, no work, 1 hour before to like calm me down into being completely optimized for good night's sleep beforehand. I take supplements before. I do magnesium and zinc, sometimes GABA. And that's really it. You know what I mean? That's how I get into a good night's sleep. What I will say is before I finish work, you know what I mean, I will always write down what do I need to do the next day. So I have a list of things that I need to do the next day, because that also helps me not think about it. I can't, the amount of times that I haven't done that I will wake up, or I will think about something right before I go to bed. I'm like, oh my God. And then I have to go down and write it down. It just empties your mind very nicely. So getting a good night's sleep. 2, getting up early in the morning. Early bird gets the worm. That's just my thing. People can work late, wake up late, still achieve the same things. I also believe that. I just feel better. I feel more on edge. I have more energy. I feel more excited about the day when I get up early in the morning. So in the morning, I will then do my little morning routine. I will walk to the gym. So just listen to what I'm saying here right now, that how can you refabricate that? We're in Vegas right now. We don't have a cold plunge. I do a cold shower instead. So I will move my body first thing in the morning. I will then have a cold shower, okay? And then I'm lucky that I can go straight into a sauna, and then I can meditate in the sauna, okay? So I do these 3 things back to back. That takes, one, walk over to the gym, 5 minutes, jump in a cold plunge, takes 30 seconds if I'm good, get in the sauna, that takes me 10 minutes to meditate. And then what I've incorporated in there right now as after 30 is I will do mobility and stretch at the end there. So that's the time that I'm getting that done. So that takes 15 minutes total to get that routine done. When I'm done with that, that's when I'm kind of starting my day. I will start over in the gym. I will have my book with me, and then I will write down my goals. So I drink my coffee, read my book, write down my goals, which all takes in total before I'm back home 1 hour or so. Okay, so then I'm back home, and then I'm doing my deep work, and then I start my day. So having these things together is key. Okay, and I've already mentioned a bunch of different habits inside, but think about your morning, think about your night routine, what you do, think about your morning routine and what you do, and then the rest of the day can then basically run wild. From a training and nutrition standpoint, then what I would do and what I would recommend is I have 3 to 4 meals right now that is mixed between complex meals with carbohydrates. So that's rice, sweet potatoes, meat. It can be oatmeals. It can be eggs for breakfast. And then we'll also have just protein meals. So what I try to do is carbohydrates as the first meal, workout, okay, strength and weight training at midday. And then I do my other carbohydrates meal right after. And then basically for the rest of the day, I have my dinner at the last thing, and I will just have a steak, ribeye steak, 350 grams as my last meal and as my dinner. Now, the reason why I'm placing these carbohydrates here and then work out here is because that's when I need the energy. I'm sitting down a lot during the day, so I don't need all that carbohydrates and food in my stomach, sitting out in the afternoon and stuff, and even in the morning, I'm fasting. So I do that, and then have the steak at nighttime. And then my trainings, I just try to focus on, I do my stretch in the morning. I want to do my cardio. I want to do my steps. And then I want to do some high intensity a couple of times a week to really elevate my heart rate. And then I just purely focus on progressive overload. Okay, splits, push-pull legs, full body, lower body, upper body. It can mix up. But focusing on building muscle, okay, focusing on lowering my body fat percentage and staying fairly lean all year round, focusing on my sleep, focusing on getting up in the morning, and then getting all the what can you say, the good habits in place with the sunlight, with the mobility, with the sweat from the sauna, and with the ice bath done first thing in the morning there. So that's my number one thing. And again, as I said to you, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. It's just a process. It's not time, it's a process. you're already doing all these things. You just do other things within that time frame. You might wake up first thing in the morning. What do? You scroll on your phone. You tumble around in bed for like 15 minutes. You go out, you drink your coffee, you might have a bagel, you might then watch the news. Like we're already doing things right now. I just get up and then I'd like automated my first hour of the day. So it's just completely dialed in. I don't think about it. And that's probably my biggest thing. It's just control these 2 times when you go to bed and then in the morning, and then the rest of the day is just being smart with your food choices, exercise regularly, and then you'll be good.
How do you battle stress and tiredness?
Yeah, so that kind of like goes a little bit back into my routines. Like the reason why I do my morning routine as I'm doing is because that's where I'm resetting a lot of my things that I do. You know what I mean? I write down my thoughts, my goals. I, do my meditation in the sauna and these sort of things, and that helps me reset and refocus and recenter this day-to-day stuff that I need to focus on. Okay, this happened yesterday. This is what we need to do different today. A lot of the times for me, it's about time. As the business evolves, sometimes I still have to do a lot of the in-business stuff, and that bugs me down because then I don't do other things. So then I'm running into a week and 2 weeks of like, why am I feeling so burned out or stressed right now? It's because I'm not having this time for deep work in the morning right now because I'm straight on calls and stuff. So then you figure that out by actually sitting and writing it down and analyzing where am I going wrong right now. 2, I also do, and that helps me, is going to a different environment. So actually just pulling myself out for half a day or a morning or even a weekend sometimes. I think it's good to like leave your environment and get into some new thoughts and some new perspective. And really just, why am I feeling like I'm feeling right now? Because I think that's the last point to that, because I don't see stress and fatigue oftentimes as a problem. I just see it as a byproduct of you doing stuff, you know what I mean? Now, are you off purpose? Are you doing the wrong things? Can often lead to tiredness and, lost purpose, and like I'm fatigued and I'm like, I'm burned out, versus I'm working a lot, but I'm on purpose. I think there's a distinguish between these 2 things. So I think it's sitting with these thoughts, writing it down, going to a different environment and be like, you know what? It's okay. I'm tired. Like I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? Because I'm moving towards something. Maybe I just need 2 hours or something. Maybe I just need to sleep 10 hours tonight. You know what I mean? And just be okay with that. You're doing things right now, and that's the reason why you're tired and fatigued. I think the stress and the fatigue, when it's a negative thing, it's because you are like, what are you moving towards? Okay. Lack of purpose, lack of direction. What am I doing all these things for? And I think that's what kills the most people. And you need to course correct that more than you need to work less, or more than you need time off, really.
About 50% of men worldwide are overweight and 18% obese today. Why do you think that is?
I think, in the end of the day, it comes down to convenience. We're in Vegas right now. You got everything on your doorstep. You don't leave the casino or the shopping center or anything. There is fast food anywhere. Okay, so it's convenience more than anything else. Everybody wants things right now. Okay, you're Uber eating. You want your internet to be faster. You want everything to just be easy and convenient. So that naturally puts people into a lazy state, a place of like less activities and stuff. It's just natural. You know what I mean? So I think the convenience aspect is a huge thing. Then the convenience aspect then creates different habits, different priorities, different behavioral automatic things that you're doing, meaning, okay, less activity. You're not going to the gym because now you've done less activity during the day because you got your food at your desk, so then you didn't have to go up. Now you feel tired and now you feel fatigued and now you don't go to the gym. Okay, so the convenience aspect creates these bad habits in itself. Third thing, again, using Vegas as an example, using America as an example, but using a lot of the places around the world, it's the environment you're in. Okay, the environment you're in stimulates you know, what you do and who you become. So if there's fast food in your face all the time, me and Pat, we over here right now, the first day I was like, where can I get some healthy food? Where can I get some healthy food? Where can I get some healthy food? And, you know, 9 out of 10 people were almost like looking at me like, what's the word you're saying? You know what I mean? They're like, you can't get any healthy food at all here in Vegas. You know what I mean? So that was just interesting, you know what I mean? So the environment it's crazy, you know, how much it does. I live in Bali right now, and it's health food. There's good food everywhere. And yeah, you without a clothes on, you know, you going to the gym, like everybody is healthy and happy over there because of the environment stimulates that behavior. What would be a fourth thing? A fourth thing would probably be, I would say, lack of purpose. Because we have the convenience, we have the habits that there's then created from that convenience. We have the environment and the people you have around you there, and then the lack of purpose. I think, like again, why are you doing what you're doing? I understand if you live in Denmark where I grew up and it's cold 9 months of the year, what's the purpose of being in shape if you don't have a very strong innate voice and say inside and good habits from over the years that being in shape is just natural secondary. So why do you want to be in shape? Why do you want to be healthier? What's the reason for it? What's the purpose? I constantly need to find new purposes to stay sharp, to be in shape and stuff. We're going to Vegas, boom. No snicky snacky, you're gonna be good over there. Boom, New Year's, boom. Do yourself, get yourself a challenge for the next 60 days to get in the best shape of your life. I'm on camera a lot, you know what I mean? Like I'm doing pictures a lot. So this gives me natural commitments and purposes to stay in good shape. And I think if you don't have anything, it's just very easy just to make the easy choice, you know what I mean, to not go, to not do it. It's cold outside. You're giving yourself all these reasons. So having a purpose, I think, is different than a goal. But having these small goals and targets and reasons for why you stay on track. But again, in the end of the day, the purpose should be like your health is your wealth. Your health is the most important thing that you have. And without that, like, who are you and what are you? Okay? So the small targets can then help you get into momentum and get on track. But a guy like me today, I'm not, you know, I'm living on purpose for health. Like everything that I do, how I dress, how I look at myself, how I treat myself, it all comes from the lens of being, having an identity that is healthy. Everything that I stand for is health. Okay, like feel good, be good, you know what I mean? And that purpose in itself will keep me on check in all situations. Going through stress, I will only get to here, I won't get to here, because I have an identity that is healthy. I have good habits in place to back that up. And without that, you know, you're just gonna crumble into being out of shape. And that's why you see this yo-yo thing. So that's what I think. I think people just have the convenience, too much convenience, bad habits that are being developed around that. People and environments you live in, you're around people that are fat, you're around people that are out of shape, you're around fast food all the time, and there's no question in your mind about living in a different way. And yeah, that bleeds into your purpose. Why even care? And I think that's the issue with most people today in today's society. Yes, if you like these kind of videos where it's a little bit more casual, it's a little bit more sharing about obviously where it came from, what I do, my beliefs on it, because oftentimes I think to myself that there's nothing special in it because I do these activities every single day, but I'm trying to just share what I do, what I think, what I've gone through to hopefully inspire you to take a different decision today, to spark you with one idea, to spark you with one little thing you're like, you know what? He's right about that. Let me go out and try. Let me go out and do this instead. So if you like these videos here, like let me know down in the comments. It would really mean the world to me. I really want to try to go into YouTube and more long form content like this. So it will mean the world to me to let me know what you think about this. If not, you know, keep following along, keep being here, and I'll see you in the next video.